Hello again and welcome to my channel. Today's tutorial is to make an amigurumi ball. The ones that I'm making here are to make into a multicoloured caterpillar, but you can use the same ball to make a hexi doll head or a head for a toy. It's quite an easy project. I'm using a double knit yarn, and because it's the amigurumi we're using a 3.5mm hook. So I'm going to start with a chain of 4. So slip knot onto the hook, and then we've got 1, 2, 3 and 4. If you just want to pop a stitch marker onto the chain that you've just made, so that when we join into the first stitch with a slip stitch, it's easy to see where the circle is that we're going to work into. The first row is going to start with a chain 1, and that doesn't count as anything at all. It's just to keep the edges nice and smooth. So into that circle, and if you've put the stitch marker there, you can actually see where that circle is. We're going to do a single crochet. So it's into the circle, pick up a loop, yarn over and through 2. We need 6 single crochets into this circle altogether. So we've done 1, there's 2 and 3, 4, might need to push them round a little bit, 5 and 6. So if you just count back over the stitches that you've got, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So we're now going to join into the chain that we did at the beginning with a slip stitch. Might be easier to just take out the stitch marker there. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. We're going to join into that first chain with a slip stitch to join. We're going to start each row with a chain 1, and into that chain 1 pop the stitch marker. So now into the first of the 6 singles that we did in the first round, we're going to work 2 single crochets into each of those stitches. So 1 and 2 into the next stitch and work 2 into the next, exactly the same. So we'll end up with 12 singles, and if you start to count from where we've put the marker into the first chain, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 2 in the next, 9, 10, and in the last stitch 11 and 12. And then we're going to join into the chain where the stitch marker is, just with a slip stitch. Take out the stitch marker. We're going to start the next row again with a chain 1 and pop in the stitch marker again, so that we can see where the beginning of the row is. On this row we're going to increase in alternate stitches. So into the first stitch we're just going to do 1 single. Into the next one we're going to do 2, 1 and 2. Oops. So if you want to carry on all the way around this row, working 1 single into the first stitch, 2 into the next, 1 into the next, 2 into the next, and so on until we get round to the other side. And on this row we will end up with 18 stitches. When we get round to the stitch marker, we're going to slip stitch to fasten off the row. Take out excuse me, the stitch marker. We've now got 18 stitches going around. So the following row, again we're going to chain 1 to start and just pop the stitch marker into that stitch. We're now going to work a single into the first 2. So we've got 1 and 2, and then 2 singles into the next stitch, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4, 1, 1 and 2 in the next stitch. We'll just carry on all the way around, working 1 stitch into each of the next 2 and then 2 into the third. At the end of this row you will have 24 stitches, so if you want to be sure that you're keeping the increase correct, you can count the stitches going round, and I'll see you when we get to the end. And again, when we get to the end, we're going to join into that first chain with a slip stitch, take out the stitch marker, chain 1 to start the next row, and pop the stitch marker into that chain. For this row we're going to work a single into the first 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and then 2 into the next one, 1, 2. And this row is just a repeat of that, 1 in each of the next 3 stitches, and then 2 into the following stitch. So at the end of this row you will have 30 stitches. So we're working 3 singles and then 2 into the same stitch, 3 singles, 2 into the same stitch, 3 singles, and then 2 into the next one. And we just work that all the way around. Just count at the end of the row that you've got 30 stitches altogether. Now on to row 6, and this is the last row for increasing. Again we're going to start with a single crochet. I'm going to pop a stitch marker into that stitch, and we start now with a single into the first 4 stitches, so 1, 2, 3 and 4, and then we're going to do 2 into the 5th, 1, 2, 3 and 4, 2 into the 5th. And we just carry on all the way around, working exactly the same, with a stitch into each of the next 4, and then in the 5th stitch we work 2. At the end of this round you will have 36 stitches. Three and oops, 4 and again 2 stitches. So carry on all the way around, working 4 single crochets into the 4 stitches and then 2 into the 5th. Just make sure when you get round to the other side you join with a slip stitch to the chain and make sure that you've got 36 stitches. Worked this row working 4 single crochets into 4 stitches and then 2 into the 5th, 4 and 2 into the 5th, and so on. So we join this final row with a slip stitch, and I'm going to leave the stitch marker here on this row because the next rows now we're going to work without any increase. So the next row is row 7, and we're going to do 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 and 13 just working 1 stitch into each stitch. So if you keep the marker here, you can see where we finished off with the increase. So we start again with a chain stitch and pop the stitch marker in. So now it's just literally working 36 stitches around the row, and we're going to do that from row 7, which is this one, and finish on row 13. So I'll leave you to carry on working at your own pace if you want to just pause the video, and I'll meet you when we get to the last stitch of row 13. So now we've got our 13 rows working just straight. Your work will now have formed into a little cup shape. So now we're going to start on the decrease. So we work 1 chain. I'm just going to pop the stitch marker into that chain. We can take the other one off now that we've counted the 13 rows. So this time we're going to work the opposite way to the increase, where we're going to work 1, 2, 3 and 4, and then for the 5th stitch we're going to single crochet 2 together. So to do that we just go into the loop, pick up a loop, but don't do anything with it, into the next stitch, pick up a loop. We've got 3 loops on the hook, we just pull those through together. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches worked over the 6 stitches. So 1, 2, 3 and 4, and then work 2 single crochets together. 1, 2, 3, 4 and work 2 singles together. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 2 singles together. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 2 singles together, and carry on all the way around until we get to the other side. Worked the last 2 stitches together, so we're going to join into the first chain with a slip stitch and chain 1. Move the stitch marker. We've now got 30 stitches. On the next row we're going to go down to 24. So we did 4 stitches in the last row. This time we're going to work 3. So 1, 2 and 3, and then single crochet 2 together. 1, 2, 3 and single crochet 2 together. 1, 2, 3, single crochet 2 together, and carry on all the way around, working a single into 3 and then single crochet 2 together. That will bring us down to 24 stitches. Again by joining with a slip stitch to the chain that we started with. We do a chain 1 again on this next row. We're now going to work 2 single crochets, 1, 2 and single crochet 2 together, 1, 2 and single crochet 2 together, 1, 2 and single crochet 2 together, 1, 2 and single crochet 2 together. The rows are going to get smaller each time, so that on this row we're down to 18 stitches, and the final 2 together, join with a slip stitch to the chain and chain 1, take out the stitch marker and pop it into the chain. We're now going to work 1 single crochet and then single 2 together. Just move that out of the way. 1 single crochet and single crochet 2 together, 1 single crochet, single crochet 2 together, 1 single crochet, single crochet 2 together, 1 single, single crochet 2 together, 1 single crochet, and we work the final 2 crochets together. Join again into that chain, oops, with a slip stitch, and we're ready for the final row. So we can just take out the stitch marker. We've got a very small space to work in now. We're just going to work 2 stitches together all the way around, which will bring us back to the original 6 stitches that we had at the beginning. So we're going to work 2 together, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the final one, 6. Join into the first stitch that we made with a slip stitch and pull the yarn through to fasten off, and that just leaves a small hole here where we can put the stuffing in and form into the ball like these ones. I do hope you found this tutorial useful. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye!